Welcome to section number 4, validation. In this section, you will learn the methods of testing whether your product works or not. It's the last section, but you should repeat all the section you have learned again and again on your product in order to improve and keep it user-centered. In this video, you will learn how to build the prototype. We will start with what prototype, and we'll learn 3 prototype methods: sketching and paper prototyping, digital prototyping, and native prototyping. What is prototype? According to Wikipedia, a prototype is an early sample, model, or release of a product built to test a concept or a process or to act as a thing to be replicated or learned from. Prototyping is taking your sketches, wireframes, or even the final design, combine it with user flows you had in mind, and make them somewhat alive in order to test it. Test if the idea, features, works as simple intuitive as you intended. Prototypes in many cases are quickly built, tested, and then thrown away again and again. But in some cases, prototypes get built upon older prototypes versions and get get evolved into the final product over time. So there are 3 types of prototyping: sketching and paper prototyping, digital prototyping, and native prototyping. Sketching and paper prototyping is a printed or a hand-drawn representation of interface of the product. In this variant, you show someone who represents the user or is potential user the interface, and you act as the product or the system. You show subject what would have happened in the system if it was live according to his behavior. This method is fast to execute and inexpensive to create. All you need is an office supplies. This is mine, for example. If you have an idea, visualize and test to see if it works. This is a highly recommended method with fast results. Just to show you an example, this is a small prototype I made for some interactions in PowerPoint. As you can see, we can test how intuitive is switching slides and their order by asking the subject to do so. Digital prototyping. This method is the most common form of prototyping. By using one of the apps and software made specially for prototyping, you can create interactions, animations, transitions, etc. to your design. It takes more time than paper prototype, but it's easier to produce than HTML prototypes. You can even make simple digital prototypes using presentation software like PowerPoint or Keynote. The great advantage of prototyping is to have the ability to play with your design and see what leads to where, if all connected to the right place, and all the flows and use cases you planned can be achieved. This example is from InVision, which is also a prototyping app. Native prototyping. This is the third method. A native prototype is HTML prototype made by designers who have coding ability. It's mostly good choice to start prototyping in HTML when you actually will use and evolve the prototype into the final product. And by that, it will save a lot of effort and money down the road because it provides a groundwork for the final code. You should be careful with choosing this method though. Diving straight into code might kill creativity and exploring new ideas and can take your mind off the user-centered design. There are 2 ways you can create your prototypes, and all 3 methods above can go those 2 ways: high fidelity prototype and low fidelity prototype. High fidelity prototype is when the links, menus, and buttons are all clickable, responsive, the visuals are final, the content is real, and their placement and hierarchy are all like real product, even the screen size. Low fidelity, for other hand, is not very interactive, can represent only parts of the product, used with placeholders and not real graphics and content. Your prototype can place somewhere also in between those 2, as you feel comfortable with. Now that you're familiar with the 3 types of prototype and their variations of low and high fidelity, ask yourself how much from the prototype will be used in the eventual product, how much effort you will need in order to create the prototype. Entering this can guide you in choosing the right methods for the right stage of your product. After learning to prototype, understand how easy, fast, and cheap it can be,